From being labeled a traitor to accused of arrogance, Cameron Smith has become one of golf's most polarizing figures, and not without controversy. One of the key incidents that fueled the hate came during the St. Jude Championship, where Smith was penalized for playing the ball from the wrong spot. To some, it seemed like an honest mistake. To others, it was proof that he was trying to gain an unfair edge. At the time, Smith was performing exceptionally well, fans expecting another strong finish, but this penalty turned things upside down. The PGA Tour later confirmed that he had indeed played from the wrong place, igniting a storm of criticism online. Whether it was carelessness or misjudgment, the incident gave his detractors fresh ammunition, reinforcing their belief that Smith's rise to fame came with a touch of arrogance and recklessness in the top 5. But for his loyal fans, it was a massive letdown. They had watched him play brilliant, calculated golf all week, only for it to crumble because of what many called a rookie mistake. The frustration wasn't just about the two-stroke penalty. It was about what it represented: carelessness from a player who was supposed to be laser-focused. Social media lit up with disappointment. Some fans defended him, calling it an honest oversight, while others said it showed a lack of discipline that separated him from the true greats. The whole thing left a sour taste. Here was Cameron Smith, one of the brightest talents in golf, losing ground not because he was outplayed, but because of a lapse in concentration, and just when the dust began to settle. Another controversy hit, one that would divide the golf world and turn casual criticism into full-blown hatred. His shocking move to LIV Golf, "Me Catch You Up." This all started back in 2020 when Patrick Reed was at the center of yet another rules controversy. Reed had been accused of improving his lie in a bunker during the Hero World Challenge. And while most players stayed diplomatic, Cameron Smith didn't hold back. When reporters asked for his opinion, he said, "I think it's pretty to cheat. I know what I saw, and I think the footage speaks for itself." Now, plenty of players thought the same thing, they just didn't say it out loud. But Cameron went straight for the jugular, publicly calling out one of golf's most polarizing figures. Some fans applauded him for his honesty, but many others saw it as disrespectful and arrogant. The golf world thrives on etiquette and restraint, and Smith's bluntness rubbed traditionalists the wrong way. It didn't help that this came right after his own penalty incident, making him look like a hypocrite to critics. To them, it was ironic. The guy just penalized for playing from the wrong spot, now calling someone else a cheater. The media ran wild with the story, framing Smith as brash and unfiltered traits that, depending on who you ask, make him either refreshingly real or downright unlikable. But that wasn't the last time Cameron Smith stirred controversy. If that comment earned him a few haters, his next big move in golf practically doubled them. Of your thoughts there? But let's be honest, Cameron Smith didn't exactly choose his words carefully. He doubled down on his criticism, saying, "I think it's pretty poor to give the excuse he did. I think that's inexcusable." That blunt remark instantly made headlines. For many, this moment defined the start of Smith's villain era. Fans who admired Reed or simply valued keeping disputes private saw Cameron as arrogant and disrespectful. Even some who agreed with his point thought he lacked tact. Golf, after all, isn't a sport known for public callouts or trash talk. Players usually handle things behind closed doors, but Smith wasn't done making waves. His comments painted him as someone unafraid to speak his mind, and whether you see that as confidence or cockiness depends on which side you're on. Still, this controversy was just a warm-up compared to what came next, the move that turned countless fans, sponsors, and even fellow golfers against him. Yep, we're talking about his shocking decision to leave the PGA Tour for LIV Golf, a choice that would change how people viewed Cameron Smith forever, and probably the one that completely flipped the public's perception of Cameron Smith. when news broke that the reigning Open champion was leaving the PGA Tour to join LIV Golf. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Fans felt betrayed. Here was a player who had just cemented his place in golf history, choosing to walk away from the traditional tour for a league many criticized as being driven by money and controversy. Smith tried to defend his decision, saying it gave him more time to be with family and that LIV offered a fresh opportunity. But critics weren't buying it. To them, it sounded like he was trying to justify chasing a massive paycheck while turning his back on the sport's legacy. PGA loyalists accused him of selling out, while even some fellow pros subtly distanced themselves from him. The move didn't just spark anger, it changed how people talked about him. Overnight, he went from being one of the most likable, down-to-earth golfers to one of the most polarizing figures in the sport. And if that wasn't enough, his comments after joining LIV, where he said players on the new tour were happier and more relaxed, only poured fuel on the fire. To many fans, that came off as arrogant, like he was taking shots at the PGA players, who had supported him for years. Whether you see him as a man standing up for what he believes in, or just another athlete chasing a payday. One thing's for sure, Cameron Smith's decision to join LIV Golf didn't just change his career. It reshaped his entire reputation, but that didn't stop people from calling him out. Reports claimed that LIV Golf offered Cameron Smith an eye-watering $100 million deal to make the jump, and while anyone would find that hard to turn down, fans saw it as proof that money meant more to him than loyalty or legacy. To them, it wasn't just about switching tours. It was about abandoning the traditions and history that made him who he was. Golf purists argued that by joining LIV, Smith turned his back on decades of hard-earned prestige that came with the PGA. They felt he'd gone from being the scrappy, humble Australian everyone loved to a symbol of what's wrong with modern sports, chasing paychecks over passion. Even though Smith defended himself, saying the move gave him more freedom and that he wanted to grow the game globally, critics still saw it as hollow justification for a money grab to make things worse. His timing couldn't have been more controversial, leaving right after winning the Open Championship made it look like he used the PGA's biggest stage as a springboard to secure his massive payday. Since then, the narrative around him has been split. Some admire his confidence and willingness to take a risk, while others label him as the ultimate sellout. At the end of the day, Cameron Smith's talent is undeniable, but for many fans, it's hard to look past the belief that their once beloved champion now plays not for pride or passion, but for profit. But whether you love him or hate him, one thing's for sure, Cameron Smith isn't afraid to make bold moves. He's chosen a path that few have the courage to take, even if it means facing criticism from fans, peers, and the media. Some call him a sellout, others call him a trailblazer. At the end of the day, Cameron Smith's story is about risk, risking reputation for freedom, risking legacy for opportunity, and risking public approval to carve his own future. Love him or not, you can't deny that he's changed the conversation in golf. Because in a sport that often resists change, Cameron Smith dared to break the mold. And whether his gamble pays off or not, his name will always be remembered, not just for his swing or his scores, but for the controversy and conviction that came with them. So what do you think? Did Cameron Smith make the right call leaving the PGA for LIV, or did he throw away his legacy for a paycheck? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about the biggest names shaking up the world of golf.